I know. Got it.
There we go. Okay. So, inshallah, we'll start. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Before we start, if we could just take a moment and recite Surah Al-Fatiha for Sayyid Asad Jafri from Toronto, who passed away, I believe last night. I just got the news today. If we can say Surah Fatiha for him, inshallah.
Inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. I was just writing him on he wrote me on the 5th of this month, like 3 weeks ago. And the thing is, you never know. That's why we have to work very hard on ourselves and work very hard, like Sayyid was doing, to propagate the message of Islam and to learn about Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and not waste any of our time, because our time is limited. We don't know. Everyone's like, the Sayyid was very young and to pass away. The death has no age.
He passed away during the sleep.
Yeah, the death has no age. It can come anytime. We think that maybe we're going to be 85 years old or 90 years old, but it can come any moment. So we
That's true. Yeah.
be prepared, and inshallah, we'll be prepared at that time, and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam be there to receive us and give us glad tidings of Jannah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So we left off, we started a new chapter, actually, the 27th greater sin. And this also ties in with the other portion of the class that we're doing about jihad. So the 27th greater sin in the book of greater sins, Ayatollah Dastagir Shirazi, is avoiding jihad. So this, according to Quran and Hadith, this is also a greater sin. And we see that in Quran and Surah Anfal, O you who believe, when you meet those who disbelieve marching for war, then turn not your backs to them. And whoever shall turn his back to them on that day, unless he turns aside for the sake of fighting or withdraws to accompany, then he indeed becomes deserving of Allah's wrath, and his abode is the hellfire, an evil destination it shall be. So it says basically anyone who turns away in the battlefield, they're fighting. Imagine they're fighting with Rasulullah, for example, alongside of him, and then they leave him and abandon him and run away from the battlefield. This is a greater sin. And then Allah gives a condition, because sometimes you withdraw to regroup and then come back to gain momentum or get strength, or you join a different part of the army or something, you run from one part to the other part. But the intention in this case, which makes it a sin, is to run away and abandon the fight altogether, and to abandon the believers and leave them, to basically to die. So this is one of the greater sins. We have a hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Those who run from the battlefield should know that they have angered their Lord and have damned themselves to destruction, because fleeing from the battlefield causes Allah's anger. One who flees from the jihad will be certain to face calamities and eternal degradation, and his fleeing will not prevent death, and his life cannot be prolonged. That is, if the time of his death has arrived, his running away will not delay it. He will die due to some other reason. On the other hand, if the time of his death has not yet arrived and he participates in jihad, he will not die. Thus, it's better for one to pledge his life to Allah rather than to live in Allah's anger, degradation, and dishonor. So If the time for us is written to die, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, running away from the battlefield is not going to prolong your life. You might as well lay down your life honorably and die in the way of Allah, or supporting the religion, supporting what we believe in, and protecting the Muslims, and so on and so forth, not to run away. So the author talks about, we have two types of jihad. We mentioned this in another portion of the class before, but we'll go over it again briefly here. He says the first type is initiated jihad, or the one that is started. We call it jihad ibtidai. The one, it's like he says, initiated. And the second one is jihad dafa'i, or jihad in defense. So the first kind of jihad, the one that is initiated from the side of the Muslims, is when the Muslims undertake war against the disbelievers to invite them to Islam, or for establishing justice. He says, however, the permission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa alihi, and the Imma alayhi salam, or their representatives, is necessary for this type of jihad. He says, since the present period is of major occultation, or ghibatul kubra, this type of jihad is forbidden. We don't have the permission to initiate a jihad, to start a war, to be the ones who start it. Only the one can start. This is one of the ma'sumin, prophet or imams, or one of the representatives who's doing it on behalf of imam. So this type of jihad can learn about it, but in practical use, no one is able to do this. This is just like theoretical knowledge. The second one is jihad dafa'i, or jihad in defense. And this is when the disbelievers attack Muslim territories, or they want to destroy Islamic heritage, or steal the wealth from the Muslims, or these type of things. The Muslims are under attack. And in this condition, it's wajib kafa'i to undertake jihad and repel that attack. Wajib kafa'i means that it's wajib until someone fulfills it. And once someone fulfills it, then it's not wajib on the rest of them. Wajib aini is when it's wajib on every single individual, like salat. Salat is wajib aini. Just because you make salat doesn't, mean I don't have to make it because you did it. We all have to do it. But what wajib kafa'i, for example, someone dies, and it's wajib kafa'i on the community to bury that person. But once someone buries him, being wajib on the rest of the community is lifted from them. So the same, it's like when we see that in Iraq, the Daesh or ISIS were attacking the Muslims, attacking the people of Iraq, and destroying shrines and killing people. Sayyid Mudarsi, also Sayyid Sistani, they called for people to come and fight against Daesh, to defend the land of the Muslims, to defend the shrines of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So people started coming even from abroad. They thought that they needed to come from England and from America and from Canada and all the places around the world. And then they said, no, this is for the people in Iraq that are there, and they can rise and stand. So it's not, once they fulfilled that obligation, it wasn't wajib on everyone else to come from all over the place. So this is what we mean when we say it's wajib kafai to repel the disbelievers, to fulfill that obligation of jihad in defense. So for this type of jihad, the permission of the imam, or the permission of the representative of imam, isn't necessary, because you're under attack. So you have to defend yourself. You cannot wait and say, I need the permission of the imam to defend myself, because that situation requires action at that moment. I mean, I think, for example, if long time ago we say that Imam is in Medina and they are in Baghdad and they're under attack, and have to wait all the way for the message to get from Medina all the way back, and they have to get there and then all the way back. Whatever they needed to defend would already be destroyed. So we don't have to wait on this. This is common sense that if someone's attacking you, you have to defend yourself. So he says there's a different type of opinion, difference of opinion, ikhtilaf, regarding the flight from the battlefield. Some scholars are of the opinion that it pertains only to those wars that have been waged against the disbelievers under the order of the imam or his representative. For example, when we say shaheed, they are buried without ghusl, without kafan, and this pertains to jihad. So some are saying that this is only for those who are in the battle under the permission of the prophet or the permission of the imam, and those type of battles, and it's not pertaining to all other shuhada. This is ikhtilaf in this, but he's bringing this subject. He says others maintain that the decree applies to both kinds of jihad. Those who wish to, he says, those who wish to study this can go into the books of fiqh and look at jihad. There's a difference of opinions. He says, while discussing the prohibition of flight, it would be most appropriate to discuss the steadfastness of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he said neither the Shia nor the Sunni historical books ever mention a single instant when Imam Ali alayhi salam turned his back to battle. Even in the Battle of Uhud, he was the only one who did not run away. We have in 9th volume Bahar al-Anwar, riwayat from Ibn Mas'ud about Imam Ali alayhi salam. He said 4 of those who had run away from the Battle of Uhud returned and again came to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There were Abu Dajana, Miqdad, Talha, and Musayb. After this, the rest of the Ansar came back. Thus it were these people who had deserted the Holy Prophet. All the companions had left the Holy Prophet alone on the battlefield except Ali. Ali was fighting in the midst of the mushrikeen to defend Islam and the Prophet of Islam. During the Battle of Ahzab, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave Imam Ali alayhi salam the title of the one who doesn't run away from the battlefield, the one who stands firm in the battlefield, the one who attacks the enemy. That is the one he attacks with vengeance and does not, he doesn't flinch or recede even a little bit. It says that the history books that shows that the other companions of the Prophet, they ran away from the battlefield in many battles. He mentions Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman. They fled from all of these battles, especially battles like Uhud and Khaybar and Hunain and other battles. Ibn Abul Hadid, the famous Sunni who did Sharh for Najib Balagha, he wrote this line of poetry. It's not surprising that Abu Bakr fled from Hunain. He had also deserted the battle in Khaybar and Uhud. So we see that even the Sunnis narrate this in their books, that those fled away from the battlefield. I don't know how they're putting them ahead of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, who never fled from battle, but this is something they'll have to answer for. So this is just the 27th major sin, running from the battlefield. It's pretty self-explanatory, and this chapter is very short. So inshallah, we'll go into the next chapter.